All right, folks, it looks like we are live. So we have all the panelists up on the screen. I actually was going to do a monologue with just my beautiful face on the screen, which is best for radio, but I'll begin like this. So thank you all for joining our 31st episode of All Things Tech. I am your host, Zev Nather, as usual, and I'm going to change it up a little bit and talk about a few noteworthy tech things, as well as talk a bit about what UAS Strategic does, since I haven't really been doing that at all in the past 18 months. So first, the news I've heard coming out of Offsite is number one, my good friend Alex Gorsuch, Where TAC product is now officially on tac.gov. And just like ATAC, TACX, WebTAC, Where TAC is available at no cost for anyone with a free tac.gov account. So I urge you all to get on it. I know that I use it whenever I need to, and it's an amazing tool, so easy to use, and it allows me to stay on whatever I'm on without having to get one hand off and open it. I can literally do this and see what's going on because I'm a lefty. Okay, next up, AJ's InfoTAC, our good Reverend of TAC, AJ Johansson, his InfoTAC, and Justin Davis's TAC portal got quite a bit of acclaim out there. And so much that the Tennessee TAC server presentation included shout outs to AJ, to Justin, to Greg Albrecht, Amos Halava, Mike Leckleiter, and Nine Hills' very own Doctor of Drone Detection, Joe Austin, which is a great segue into what UAS Strategic's mission is. So my team, in addition to providing fractional business development for companies like NextVision, which is the Israeli manufacturer of gimbals used by many military, border, and law enforcement agencies all over the world. The Raptor may come to mind. That's one of the most amazing cameras. They have a software-based stabilization method that nobody can beat. As well as that, we are a manufacturer-agnostic provider of passive drone detection, or what we call airspace awareness solutions. Our process is to continually vet and test several manufacturers and provide our clients with installation, administration, training, SOPs, TTPs, and integration of the same into any back-end system you have or TAC when required. What's special about us is we maintain a proprietary battle card of all the kit offered by these vendors that correlate to over 120 features in over 50 models. By providing an assessment to you, we can narrow down what models would work. Think about whether it's operator-borne, vehicle-mounted, stationary, what the cost is, the proven range, because if you've seen one urban area, you've seen one urban area, and so on. So it's a good process that we go through. And again, passive can be RID, it could be RF emissions from OcuSync and others, and other modalities like passive radar, acoustics, EO, IR, and more. The reason why Joe Austin of Nine Hill gets a separate shout out today is simply because, let me bring that up here. This next week coming, I'll be delivering two of their very first RID ADSB cellular towers. Actually, I'm doing the very first two that are being deployed, and I'm going to be stopping at several agencies on the way down to Tennessee so as to demo it. So if you're, in West Virginia, North Carolina, or whatnot, let me know. We do have a stop in North Carolina. And of course, if you'd like to know more about what we do, hit the QR code on the website, or on the banner of this show, or just go out to uasstrategic.com. Okay, so that was my self-benefiting spiel. Now let's talk a bit about our panelists. I'll give you a brief overview of who they are, and then hand it over to them for some great conversation and a really exciting, this is the first time demonstration of how three people in three distant cities in Europe can do drone things. It's really cool. Okay, so first up, Tom Ingold is the founder and CEO of DroneControl. It's a European-built secure drone software company focused on public safety, emergency response, and security ops. Before founding DroneControl, he spent 15 years in international business and senior leadership, including roles with Procter & Gamble, Coty, and Britax Rumor. Today, he leads DroneControl's commercial and strategic development, working closely with public safety, technology partners, and drone manufacturers internationally to build a complete drone software ecosystem connecting pilots, drones, and command teams. And I want to urge our audience to pay very good attention to everything that this software does, because the fleet management really does give you an opportunity to look at something other than the usual suspects that are out there. Okay, next is Yerne Yeren, whom we affectionately refer to as Jerry. He's also a co-founder of DroneControl, the original technical co-founder, and the engineer behind the core technology in which the platform was built. As an experienced software engineer with a background in computer science, he developed DroneControl's original peer-to-peer remote drone control tech and secure WebRTC architecture, enabling live video and remote control between drone pilots and operational teams. And really, the part about the video dissemination, I'm really excited to see, and I think you'll all be very excited at the result of what he's done. Today, he remains at the heart of DroneControl's engineering team and is leading the development of their tech integration, which is evolving. They already have it, but ever evolving, connecting secure drone operations, live video, telemetry, and remote control directly into the TAC ecosystem. Then we have Marcel Neuroth, who is the founder and CEO of TAC Hub. We brought him on because he's in Europe and he is a German specialist in the practical implementation of the team awareness kit ecosystem, or TAC, and he has some good experience with DroneControl's product. Marcel spent 8 years in the German Armed Forces studying mechatronics, which I had to look up. And I'll share with you that mechatronics is not animatronics like you see at Disneyland or Disney World, but it's the interdisciplinary branch of engineering that combines mechanical engineering, electronics, computer science, and control systems. Upon being released from the armed forces, he joined humanitarian operations in frontline regions of Ukraine, supporting evac, supply, and recon missions. It was there that he began using ATAC to improve mission planning, situational awareness, and team coordination. In 2024, he founded TAC Hub to turn this experience into practical TAC solutions. Today, the company works across system integration, secure infrastructure, custom development, think plugins, training and drone and sensor integration for public authorities, military organizations, and emergency management teams internationally. And last but not least is my very good friend, Mark Halliday, who has been on the show probably 11 times. It's wonderful to have him each time. He is a 10-year British Army veteran who has held senior roles in private industry, corporate finance, and government service with blue chip companies, including Philips, Medtronic, and KPMG. He heads Mini Work Groups, which is a tax solutions provider, principally focused on small to medium-sized organizations or agencies, offering fully scalable solutions, integrating hardware, software, and providing operating insights. Okay, so welcome everybody. It's a pleasure having you here. And let's get right into it by asking Tom to please begin with DroneControl solutions that are successfully allowing us, all of us, to move from simply flying a drone to making that drone a genuinely integrated operational sensor within the wider common operating picture. So take it away, Tom.
Great. Thanks a lot, Seth. And firstly, thanks a lot for inviting us all here today to talk about DroneControl and our integration into TAC. And thank you for the kind introduction. We couldn't have said it any better ourselves. So before I jump into a little bit about, what really the nuts and bolts are about what DroneControl do, I wanted to just start with a philosophy that we have, and that's really to put the drone operator at the center of what we do. And that started with our original secure live streaming and remote control feature that Yerne developed a few years ago now. Because what we want to do is ensure that all our drone operators can focus on flying safely, flying more often, and ultimately responding to incidents in a more efficient way. And that just doesn't mean, trying to reduce flight anxiety, which is a thing. It also means taking the load away from the drone operator. So being able to stream the live video feed, being able to share locations instantly, being able to share pin drops or markers. But also when you step away from the live ops part, it's also making sure that a pilot knows when they fly, am I regulatory compliant? Am I compliant with my organization? We're trying to automate all of that part of the drone operation so they can ultimately focus on more safer flying. And that's really the philosophy that we really approach everything that we do on drone control. So let me, if you wouldn't mind sharing my screen for me, Zev, and
Okay.
I can share just, and I promise you, after a long career in corporate, I dislike PowerPoint. So there'll be a maximum of 2 PowerPoint slides before we actually get into a proper demonstration. So just a few words on drone control. You can probably guess from my accent, I'm British originally, but I've been based in Switzerland now for 15 years. So we incorporated the company just over 3 years ago. We were working a bit longer on it than that. We now are lucky enough to be operating in 19 countries globally. We've partnered with the official DJI resellers, which has given us a breadth of geographical distribution, which is great. We today now support over 85 different drone operations every day for both their compliance, but also their live operations support. And we now have over 6,000 flights logged with our system and over 30,000 hours of encrypted live streaming. But what are we trying to achieve? So our vision is to be the #1 total drone software ecosystem. Today, when we talk about brands that we work with, today very transparently, we work exclusively with what we call tactical drones, so DJI tactical drones. Our next integration will be with the dock system, and as you know, especially over here in Europe, DJI still make up a significant over 95% of the drone fleets in public safety. But we ultimately see ourselves being platform agnostic, and have already had conversations and connections with the other major manufacturers, as well as exploring Mavlink and RG Pilot connections as well. So ultimately, we want to be seen as platform agnostic, but the critical bit is really data security and automation at our core. So we have servers spread around globally in every country, including the US and Canada for our customers, where obviously data sovereignty is really important. So what do I mean by total drone software ecosystem? Well, that starts with our own European produced flight application, which replaces the need to use the native flight app, which comes with the drone. We like to have our own flight app because, one, there's a data security element to that. Two, we can build in our own features. And three, it gives us access to all that data that comes from the drone. Features such as secure live streaming and remote control, features such as integration with What3Words, Mapbox, NGRS for grid referencing, and access to that data that really powers the whole of our what we call our online portal or our hub. And that includes organization, pilot and fleet management, automated flight log and fleet maintenance, flight planning and risk assessment, instant media upload and storage, so no worrying about popping around secure SD cards. It all gets uploaded in real time. And then we have our own live ops center as well, which we're not going to spend a huge amount of time today talking about, because obviously that's what our integration with TAC is providing. And then because we're a third-party provider, we can obviously integrate with a number of third-party existing solutions, TAC being one of those. So what I'd like to do now, and that's my 2 PowerPoint slides, which I promised, is I'd like to just jump into now what does our online, what we call our online portal look like? And I'm gonna run through this hopefully very quickly and give you a steer
And actually,
on
Tom,
what this has.
yeah, I just want to let folks who are watching that are using DroneSense or other at this time, do a comparison, kind of see, what that looks like, and I would suggest take a good look at it, because what I've seen, it provides a lot and gives you that control that we've been waiting for. So, sorry, go ahead, Tom.
Fantastic. Not at all, Zev. Thank you for that. Thank you for the comment. So this is what we'd call a typical pilot homepage. So, and this is me for transparently. So you can see the number of hours that I've done in the last 3 months, number of flights. I've got my certificates at the top here, so I can make sure that I'm keeping it current. We have the latest flight log, the last hardware, and the last media that I uploaded, all as a snapshot when I log in. And if we come down to the menu here on the side, we've got a element that I can manage all my key information. So again, we talk about our the number of flights I've been doing, there's an area here. We talk a lot about single source of truth, one area where all documentation can be stored in order to everyone can have access to it. So I have all my certificates that I can upload here. We have most of the certificates now globally, US, EU, UK, Canadian, all in the system, ready to add and upload. I can see in one place by the login on our flight app all the hardware that I have in my possession at any one time, and this becomes important from a team management to see where a large fleet is being stored. And then there's an area to upload documentation. As an admin, I've got access to all of the drone control team. You can see here we have different roles. We have pilots, we have admin, we have fleet managers, and we have viewers just who have access to our remote access live ops. If I click through, I can get a summary of Ross is our CTO. I get a summary of his activity over the last week, the last month, his licenses, the hardware in his possession, his last flight logs, the media he last uploaded, and then I can also change his role if I wanted to here. One of the key elements we do, and this becomes increasingly important when managing large fleets, is our fleet management solution. So as soon as you download our flight app onto the RC, or for a consumer drone, simply upload one of the text flight logs, we add all the hardware automatically to the system. So I can see here, for example, this is the drone I have outside, just a little M3T. I can see that it's in my possession now. I get a thumbnail and a tile of the critical information. If I click through, this information is always updated automatically whenever the drone is connected. So I have the activation date, the next visual inspection, which is when I get, as the pilot, sign it off that that this aircraft is flight worthy. The next proper maintenance, i.e. it goes back to a reseller for a full proper maintenance. We get the hours automatically, the total flights. I can name all the hardware to what we would record it as. There's an area here where if there's a problem with the drone, both on our flight application and here, we can add the issue. Then we get automated emails to the admin and the fleet manager to say that there's a problem with this drone, and the drone is marked as having an issue. Every time we mark that the drone's had a visual inspection, it gets updated here. So you can see that this morning when I was doing some flights, that I marked the visual inspection was done, and then the flight application, which is where you mark visual inspection complete, is then synced with the platform. So you get a full history of any issues, visual inspections, and then maintenance is a bit more thorough. So you can add a full maintenance history here, including uploading files. I won't jump through all the different bits of hardware because ground control stations work pretty much the same. But batteries are quite interesting. And let me jump into this battery for an M4TD. I'll just highlight here is we get life cycles automatically, and we can compare that versus the manufacturer's recommendation for maximum number of life cycles. So, and the one that's really critical for me is around capacity versus the current capacity. So you can see how your battery health is deteriorating over time. So if you've got even 10 drones with 5 batteries and you're managing 50 batteries, you can see in one central location and manage the health of your battery versus having to turn on each drone individually.
I have to say that when I recharge a battery and it shows, all the lights are on and 100%, that doesn't absolutely at all mean that when it's up there, it's going to hold the voltage and perform. So I'd much rather know about a battery issue prior to taking flight. So love that.
Exactly. We also do payloads automatically, so you can see the payloads in our fleet here. But we have around 35 integrated, so they also get uploaded. And then we have another hardware. So this is a more manual system, but you can see there's some examples there where you can really we've got 35 different bits which range really from high vis jacket cones to chargers, so you can create kit lists in here to track where all your hardware is. And then we pull this together all into a maintenance sheet. So in one place, I can see which drones are in need of maintenance, coming up for maintenance, or are all okay. And we do that for maintenance, but also visual inspections as well. And I can then cycle through drones, batteries, ground control stations, or have it all in one. So that's just a little bit about fleet maintenance I wanted to touch on very briefly. if I jump into flight logs as well here, so I can do all of this information gets uploaded automatically. So we have you'll see in a moment, we have a pre-flight report and an overview. So we pull the weather automatically. You can see the flight path. We pull all the critical information. You can title the flight report if you have something specifically internally you want to do. We take a snapshot of the hardware because if you come in for an audit with the aviation authorities, they want to know what was the status of that hardware on that particular flight, especially if there was an incident. And then there's a post-flight report here. So we'll talk you through that workflow, but that's all contained within our flight application. So within 10 seconds of landing the drone, all of your compliance is done. And then finally, just to show you how our media upload sheet works, and I think I've got, while we're flying, as soon as you take a video or a picture, that transfers from the drone to our ground control station and uploads to the cloud. So there's no worrying about landing, taking the memory card out, uploading that. That is a seamless process, and that's the case for photos, as you can see here. And also, I think there's a nice proud Swiss flag there that one of our neighbours have here in Switzerland. So yeah, that's a video.
I thought it was a medical facility, the Red Cross.
So listen, and I'm not going to, as I said, this remote access is our live ops center, but instead of focusing on that today, what I really wanted to do was now talk us through the TAC integration and how that works with our flight app. So I'll now flip over, and hopefully some of you will recognise now on the screen the screen of our remote control that I've got here. So I'll open up our flight application. So this is a typical this is a home page. You can see very quickly who's logged in. So if the previous pilot hadn't logged out, you get a very clear sign that you need to log out and log back in. We pull the weather automatically. You can see that we've got waypoint missions within our system. This gets nicely adapted to your own organization's logo. I can see the drone synced. I'll come back on pre-flight report and go fly. And then we've got some settings here. So what I'd like to do is show you how seamless it is to connect to a TAC server. So let me jump into here, and I'll pass over to Yoni now, just as I'm connecting to the server, just to talk us through exactly how simple this is.
By the way, before you start, I want to ask you, when did you want to show me actually getting on the server? Because I have that all set up as part of that workflow. If you wanted it, Mark and I went through it earlier.
Okay. So yeah, we can do that in a moment. We have Yoni connected as well, and we have Mark as well, so we can all share our screens once the drone's in the air. I think that would make sense.
Okay, want to make sure I was on the right path. All right, Jerry, take it away.
Yeah.
Sure, thank you. So yeah, here we have like a settings, a list of settings that we kind of support. A couple of them are like keys and stuff like that. The main thing that we want to currently discuss is the ATT configuration. So Thomas, if you enter the ATT configuration page, what we wanted to achieve here is kind of mimic the ATAC application list of server connections. That means that you have basic actions like adding a new server connection, deleting, having a quick connect option, or removing all of them if you want to. And obviously, we support switching between different server connections. Currently, the support to actually connect, have a connection for multiple servers at the same time is still on our roadmap, but it's also coming soon. So Thomas, maybe you will now kind of set up a quick connect. So what is Thomas now doing? He's going to enter the TAC server address, which is it's a similar page to what you have also in the native ATT application, the username and the password. So as you know, the quick connect does the certificate enrollment, and gives you back the client certificate and the source certificate actually to then establish a connection. And as we can see, currently it's kind of now being established, and it's now switched to green. So we are now connected. We can change the call sign here. There's going to be probably some changes here. We're going to probably move some of that stuff like call sign around. But yeah, it is kind of like similar experience what you have in the ATT app to kind of set it up in our flight application. And the status now switches to connected and also displays which server is actually connected to.
Right. Thank you, Yone. So, and you can easily, obviously, switch between servers here by disconnecting and connect there. And like Yone said, so, in the next week or so, you'll be able to connect to multiple servers at the time. So that will be quite important coming through. So I can then go back to our homepage, and so there's there's two ways to go into the flight screen. The first one is our pre-flight report. Now these pre-flight reports and post-flight reports can be 100% customized to your organization. You change it within the admin panel of our portal, and then it gets updated into the flight app. So this is one, for example, with the hardware inspection, where I can click yes, no, and go through here. Now, just for the interest of time for this demo, I'm not actually going to go through the full pre-flight report. I'll do it afterwards in the portal. The other way that you can then go access the flight screen is just to click simply on Go Fly. Now you'll recognise, for most of you who are experienced with DJI, it's not the same UI, but it's all the same information that you have here. So this is your hardware pre-flight check that you've got here, and I can just exit through that. Now this is when this pop-up flashes up, this shows that you're streaming. This is for DroneControl outside of TAC. This is the way each pilot has a unique URL which you can bookmark and then join. So this is a way to be able to connect outside of TAC. What you can see straight away here is that we've got a successful connection to the TAC server. But what I'd like to do is before we kind of start the demo. Anyone that's online, and it's for those of you that are live with us, obviously, if you're watching the recording, this won't work. If you wanted to take your phone and connect to the QR code here, and I'll give you a few minutes to do that. All you need to do is enter in your name. Don't worry about the microphone. We have a two-way microphone between the ground control station and the viewer, but we've deactivated that for this session. So if you just type in your name, you'll be able to join our server with your phone.
Give me 1 second, Jason. I know you're on. If you hear me, I'd love for you to QR code in. Also, everybody else who's viewing, please do so and post any questions you have. I'll put them up on the screen. And if you got a really good one and you want to come into the studio and talk a little bit, we can make that happen as well. So continue, Tom. Sorry.
Right. I'll leave that up for a couple more seconds. So just while that's up, what I'd like to say is I've never known a drone pilot not to pick up our flight application, not to be able to fly straight away. Indeed, we were over in the US with one of our police forces, and a sister agency was having issues with their streaming, and we set up our flight app on their controller, passed it over to the pilot, and they didn't even realize that they weren't flying with Pilot 2 anymore. And that's what we've really tried to focus on. So excellent. I can see now a few people have joined the stream. So nothing like really just testing the tech in a live situation, right?
That's right.
So just for those, so I'm obviously going to sit here in front of my computer and fly the drone. For those of you who are very up in your regulations, I actually have a colleague standing outside who's going to act as the visual spotter for the drone. So please don't worry about regulations. We're in an area I'm allowed to fly in Switzerland, although Geneva is quite a controlled area. So what I'll do now is I'll just very quickly. Thank God, it was a bit windy earlier. We're going to go here. So. We can go. So it's a beautiful evening here in Switzerland. So this is when I do demos, I always have to do them at home because our offices are next to a medical laboratory and they get a bit funny if we're flying drones around. So we can see Geneva is over there in the distance, and this is where we are. So look, I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking around the specific UI of our flight application because, as I said, it's quite similar. A couple of things that we have done is by tapping on the bottom here, we've integrated with What3Words. So at the bottom here, you can see the What3Words location of the drone. If I tap again, you can see the address of where the drone is over. Now, I've got an M3T, so this hasn't got a laser rangefinder. However, what we've done is, and this is mimicked within the UAS tool, is we've also integrated it with the camera footprint. And so what you can see here is the camera is picking up. Let me go a little bit further, not to frustrate my neighbours. You can basically see that that's picking up both the GPS, the what three words, and the address where the crosshairs are going. Just while before I pass you over to show how this is all integrated into TAC, you'll see what we've also done is integrated a number of different pins. So you've got the ability to, as the drone pilot, to drop various categorizations of pins as well. So I'll just come off that now. So now the drone is obviously flying in the air, and you can see people on their way home after a busy day at work. What I'd like to do is pass back over to Jerry, who's going to show you how this is all integrated into ATAC.
Thank you, Thomas. Zell, can you share my screen, please?
Yes, bringing it up now.
Thank you. So, as you know, this is a familiar interface from the ATAC application.
Excuse me, Jerry, can I ask you if you can raise your voice a bit and slow down?
Sure.
I think we'll understand better.
Okay.
Okay.
No problem. So this is a familiar interface from the ATAC. So we already implemented our DroneControl application, and you can see it at the top right in the menu. I have it already here accessible. So what I'm but I first just want to show you. So this is the Tom's location in Geneva, right? Like he specified, and this is my location in Slovenia. And now let's move to our plugin DroneControl application. Opening up the plugin, it splits the map in half, which is kind of a similar experience that you have with the US tool, which means that on the right side, you have a list of all the active drones that are currently live connected to the TAC server. And if they have a position, that means that also their GPS position is available. And if they have a play button, that means that you can also join the stream. They're actually live streaming. And Tom, just before I join your stream, I just want to kind of show the postcard location from my place, and a nice castle, view, and I think it's a beautiful view, to show from Slovenia. But yeah, I'm gonna move now then to Tom's location now. So I'm gonna now join Tom's live stream. So as you're gonna notice, this is actually from Tom's drone. So this is actually our remote viewing station. It leverages the WebRTC protocol for ultra low latency live streaming. As you can see, we kind of replicated all the necessary telemetry, like battery status, speed, GPS position, altitude at the bottom, and you can also see the bandwidth, how much is being consumed by this live stream. As you can see, it's like really crisp image with 30 frames per second, and even on this side, you can turn on the. I just turn on the location of the what rewards the drone. I can also switch to postal address, etc., etc. So yeah, Thomas, back to you.
Do you want to just zoom in on my location, Yanni? Just on the
Sure,
on the map? No problem at all.
Sure.
So Liechtenstein, Switzerland. There you go. So if you zoom in.
Sorry, so it's a bit. I think I'm gonna actually do it like that. Let's do like that, and let's go here. Yeah, it's easy. Let's join back.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if you can go in a bit further, that'd be great. So yeah, so obviously what we wanted to see here is I've been dropping some pins. So if we do a roadblock here, I can then drop just in the pin there. So that should then appear nicely there, that you can then see a pin there. Yanni, do you also want to show how you can go to full screen if you need to see the drone's the drone's video feed in a bit more on the TAC device? Yeah, exactly.
Yes, exactly. So this is the full wide. So we have a toolbar on the left side. This is a full wide mode, but we also have like a full screen mode, which kind of takes everything away, and it completely immerses the viewer into the drone view actually. And let's exit back in.
And Yanni, if you wanted to could you just touch the GPS locations on the bottom of by the compass, please?
Yeah, sure.
Perfect. So what you can see is as well our integration with what three words or Mapbox or MGRS is also linked to the one. So for any of the ATAC viewers, they can see instantly where the drone is and where the crosshair is pointing as well. So now what would be great, I think, is if we actually experience the remote control, but in another country in Europe. So I hope that Mark, are you ready for this?
Yeah. Hopefully, I'm just going to drag you a bit closer to the thing, so you should be able to see there. I've got that.
And then let me make you a little bigger so that everybody can see it. One moment.
There we go. That's his drone. Slide it into your menu. And Tom's M3.
Perfect. Right. So if you now make that big screen by pressing in the top menu the rectangle.
Where is it? In the rectangle.
Are you not seeing his screen as bigger?
It's at the top left section.
Top left, Mark. There's a
Your
top
other
row of
left?
the whole screen.
On the map side. On the map side, the top left.
Let me just move this over.
Keep going left.
Keep going left. Oh yeah. No, I remember that.
Yep. And then the rectangle. Perfect. Right. So now what I'm going to do, maybe you put the computer down because you're going to need two hands. So you see the what you'll see now, Mark, on the screen is two
down. So if you put those two down against something and then you angle the screen with the top coming down a little bit, you'll get better contrast.
Yeah.
There we go. Right. So there you go. Can you see that?
Now if you drag that, that's the camera gimbal.
Yeah, I'm just going to.
Yep, so I can see it's moving for me.
How do you like
there
that?
You go.
Zero latency. I love that.
And then if you those two translucent circles, if you move them, they mimic the the drones. The drone as well. Now we start off at 20. We start off at 25% because believe me, when you're flying remotely, 16 meters per second goes pretty quickly. And then you can also mark on the left-hand side. You can also you can also switch to infrared.
Ooh.
And you can also, if you go on to zoom, and then you've got a zoom on the. You can go back to infrared if you like. You've then got on the zoom. You also then have a zoom bar on the. No, that if you go back to zoom, you click the zoom button.
I've got it here.
All right.
So let me just zoom that in.
Yeah. So then you're zooming with the infrared. But if you, I can actually do it here. If
you go back to electro-optical, Mark, go. There we go.
Now if you click on zoom. Yeah, there you go. Perfect. Now you've got the zoom bar on the right hand side, sorry, that you can zoom in and out. And you can also move the camera gimbal as well there to move around. So we've given enough remote control in order to do it. So it's going to just go there for a second. There you go. Great. So
that's me
controlling
and flying a drone in the UK. So I'm just going to turn the drone around.
Very cool. Good yaw.
So we've got and now whilst Mark is demonstrating us using a touch screen, big screen TV, we've actually integrated with gaming controllers and Thrustmaster joysticks as well. So you can imagine even if you're using an Android device on a breastplate, you could Bluetooth a PlayStation controller to your Android device and then very quickly take control. And what we find PlayStation is the best just because the two joysticks mimic the two joysticks of the drone. And then we've integrated with to zoom in and out and various other buttons, but it's actually customizable. So you can actually select which setup you'd like for your remote viewer. So what I'd like to do now, and Zev, perhaps, thank you, Mark. Zev, perhaps you could pass back to me the show, because what I'd just like to do is just show you how seamlessly now. If you could share my screen, that would be great. Right, so I've actually just I took a few photos. I took a video earlier, so I'm just going to take a couple of photos.
By the way, any latency that you saw earlier in Mark's demonstration was not DroneControl. It was StreamYard and Mark's connection. So we do have a bunch of questions about video coming in, so let me know when I can start putting them up there for you, Tom.
Yeah, absolutely. Just let me focus a little bit now, because this is obviously the important part. Is just as we land. You can see my DroneControl heli mat has blown off in the wind, but so I'll land nice and safely here. So there we go. Oh, there's my mat that's gone. Excellent. So I mentioned before about post-flight report. So this is what flashes up immediately, and this is customizable. So I'm going to go other. I'm going to go TAC demo event. Let's got that right. Here in Switzerland, that's an open A2 because we were over buildings. I'm the legal person. Thomas Ingold. C'est moi. I was the pilot. Now this one's quite important. You can any air proxies are counted. Now if you wrote yes here, it would give you an area to type it in, and then your admin would get an email, because obviously airspace deconfliction is one of the most critical topics that we have in the drone industry. So if there wasn't an air proxy, you can record it here, and it all gets notified to your team leader. But no, corrective actions, nothing to report, nothing to report, nothing to report. Comments, nothing to report. So so what you can see here is that's now that's uploaded to our system. Now what I'm going to do, and this will be the last bit of is the demo, is just to show you. If I jump back in now into our portal, there you go. So this is now updated with the flight that we just did. So I can jump into flight logs. You can see we pulled the weather automatically. It's a sunny day here. You can see that this was the flight that we just did. Because I skipped the pre-flight report, I've now got the ability to update it manually in here, but I could have done it and that would have been updated automatically. We've pulled all the critical information. We've taken a snapshot of the hardware. The post-flight report that I did just here is all the information is there. And then finally, the bit that we just saw here was the pictures and video, the pictures that we just took that are now in the system, and you can download, you can delete. And this was just a quick video that I took as we were flying there earlier. And what we've done, and this is a good indication of where we're going a little bit with TAC, is we're able to overlay on the flight map where exactly the photos were taken on the map, and that's something that we hope to bring into our TAC integration in the future. So I think you've probably had enough of me talking right now, so I'll give myself a tea, Seb, as a timeout, and it'd be great to answer any questions that you have.
Okay, good. So let me tell you that we got about 20 minutes left, and I want to make sure we cover everything. So the first thing I'd like to do is bring up some comments. I happen to know who this LinkedIn user is. It doesn't say his name, but it is my friend Joe Trelli out of Connecticut, and I say it like that because I want to remember how to spell it. Let me bring that up on the screen and see if one of you answer that.
Sure, I can jump in. So I think the first thing I'd say is, as I said, we have servers, and look, transparently, it's AWS, but it's based in, we have servers in the US, we have servers in Canada, we have around other 10 locations that we have around the world, because we know data sovereignty is important. We can also, and that's both for your own organization information, but also for any photos and video files. We do, however, work with some highly security-conscious organizations where we send they're actually okay with being stored, with the data being stored on our servers, but the photos and videos we actually send to their own servers. So that's a bit of customization that we can do. Yeah. So sorry.
I'm bringing up another question he had as a follow-up.
Yeah, so 100% right. Part of the reason that we have our own flight app is because we want to use WebRTC because we believe the latency, the flexibility, the fact that it's encrypted at peer 1 and decrypted at peer 2 offers a huge amount of advantages, plus the fact that we can send our data channel with it as well. From a consumer drone, we also offer the ability to do RTMP into our system. So, for example, Avatas, Minis, if you're using this controller rather than the Android device, so they can be incorporated via RTMP into our system. So we have that all set up as well. For latency, because the system that we use that really supports the streaming is really a great system. The RTMP goes into that. We'd expect RTMP to be between 1 and 2 seconds versus the WebRTC, which is below half, 500 milliseconds roughly.
So I have a question, Tom, and anybody can jump in from the technical aspect. There are companies like Degero and LiveView that offer specific communication hardware and software stream or video streaming. How does your system compare to that? Why don't you need a hardware device that scans for different LTE or different SATs, whatever? How do you do it without that type of expense or equipment needed?
Sure. Lee, would you like to answer that one? Or
Sure, I would glad to. So what we actually managed to do is on the software level inside our application, right? We managed to actually introduce the WebRTC stack, and that allows us actually to stream directly into the WebRTC SFU split unit, which kind of then splits also the streams to multiple users at the same time without kind of like sacrificing any kind of latency in the end.
But how does the communications work? Why don't you need more stable communications like Degero and LiveView, are providing? Why don't you need it with your system?
Well, I think so. Yeah, and if you don't mind me, I can jump in just because. So we've worked with a number of different organisations, including Mountain Rescue on the side of the mountain. Now, what we find using WebRTC, the compression that we drive within our software is significant enough that actually the level of data bandwidth that you need is actually relatively low. So below 1 megabyte a second upload to get full 1080 30 frames a second. And then from a data connectivity perspective, that can go from anything like a hotspot on the phone to a 5G banded router, even to as far as, we were in Venezuela with a couple of search and rescue teams there, and they were using Starlink, and it performed really well, despite Starlink actually being quite congested in that area.
Brilliant. Okay, thank you. Jerry gave me probably the most perfect technical answer and tried to dumb it down for me, but Tom, you know how dumb I am, and you did a good job. Are there any other questions from the viewers? Joe, I know you're out there. Any follow-ups from there? Jason, I know you're quite you're quite adept at this stuff as well. So any questions? And then there's a fellow named Peter who's watching on YouTube. Peter, you're typing in Polish, so I don't know Polish and I don't know how to respond to you. If you do have a question, would you please translate it into English and post it, and I'll definitely put it up. Okay. While we're waiting, why don't we get Marcel to tell us a bit about TACHub and how he sees this product really coming in by storm, and how he would support it, and what other types of solutions he provides overall in the European theater.
Yes, sure. Thank you. So we got into contact, my company and DroneControl, because of a German army project. We were there for the ATT integration part, and of course they were from the drone perspective. And this was where we first time I experienced the system for myself. And I was amazed because of all the ecosystem that is behind just flying the drone. And I said, okay, we have to bring this into the tactical application, like for example ATAC. And when I asked how they gonna solve this, the first thing I was like, I don't remember, was like, what is tech. So there was the perfect opportunity to say, okay, let's go. We have an existing solution, but we can improve on that. And so the solution, especially for the web tech part, was very web RTC part was very exciting because it's the low latency. And so we work together. We have years now experience in ATT customers and ATT use cases. We provide ATT services around the world. Currently, we have an integration project in South America. Because of the catastrophic relief management, they want to use ATT for that. So this is a very good opportunity also to enhance the drone features inside ATT. So this was the first time that we not the first time that we did like a plugin for ATT. So we were in a consulting position here, or still are, and so we provided basically the part. Okay, what has to be in the sides of the software? What does the customer want? What are the first features we want to integrate into the plugin? And so we shaped it together. That's was our shared goal. Yeah.
You're on mute, Zev.
Would you like to bring your website up and throw it on the stage? Sure. And I'll show it, so maybe you can go through it a little bit and just kind of show folks, what the solutions are, which pages they might want to look at, and how to get in contact with you. So as soon as you add that, I can put it up.
Just while Marcel is doing that, I think it's been great to work with Marcel over the last really, I'd say 6 weeks to 2 months. Obviously, we've done a lot of hard work in terms of getting our flight app ready. So actually, then it was more just the final bits of integrating with TAC, and we're really excited about where the future will go. I think the UAS tool is great for what it's been, and but what we try to do is really put that drone operator. So we're the drone guys, right? We come from the drone operator perspective on how we can then integrate that with TAC versus other solutions out there. And the next stage is over the next few months. It's really exciting when we talk about launching our own visual AI assist which will then be available in ATAC as well. Talking about potential for 2D and 3D mapping within the DroneControl system that can then be overlaid onto the TAC maps within there as well. So anything that we bring, that's innovative within the DroneControl space, we will look to then see how we can integrate that with TAC. And
innovative is the way they say innovative for all our American English speakers. I'm having so much fun with Tom setting up this show, because I got all of his organization with S's and made them big Z's when I was doing redlining in our Word doc. It was really fun. I highly suggest that you all go out to their website and try to get some form of a demo or access so that you can actually try it, because it's really something. Okay, let me bring up Marcel's TAC Hub's website and take us for a little ride there.
Yeah, sure. So we are a system integrator for the whole ATAC ecosystem. So basically for the tech ecosystem, we do server provisioning, we do training, and also we configure hardware with the right software, and especially also finding solutions for customers who want to integrate ATAC into their current systems, or want to bring some kind of hardware device into the ATAC ecosystem. So we do this too. We follow this approach of the whole cycle, basically. So we are consulting for the solutions, then we're providing the solutions also. Our servers are in Germany, so but we can do it anywhere in the world because of GDPR. Most of them wanted to have this in Germany, so we provide the server, connect the devices directly to the server, and then on this basic or on the whole package, we train the people that use actually this software. So you have these 4 aspects fully covered by us, and we do this now with a lot of different customers. So search and rescue teams, police, and also the military. And we focus on the ease of use of the customer. Sorry, I don't know why it's not loading. Maybe I've bad internet. So we want that the solution is easy to use. ATT can be or has a steep learning curve, and we want to mitigate that by having all the tech sorted out and just using the system for the purpose that you want. Yeah.
Great, thank you. All right, we have another great question from Joe, and I want to let people know who Joe is. So let me just get that off the screen. There we go. So Joe was with Amazon Web Services. He understands comms. He understands video. He's just an IT type of genius guy. I've spent a lot of time over the past few weeks getting schooled by him. And he's a fellow CUAS provider. So he asks, a more specific question. So I'm going to bring that up and let somebody answer that.
Yeah. So yeah, 50,000 people brings interesting challenges. Absolutely. I mean, so we would need to, thoroughly see how our back end handles, the traditional RTMPs or RTSPs with that many people. What we know though is we were in San Luis Obispo for a major Cal Poly event. This was the event where we went and provided a sister agency with our flight application, and they were using, let me just say, another hardware-based streaming product, which collapsed because of the number of people. We set them up on our flight application within 2 minutes. We were streaming off my Swiss SIM card of my phone on hotspot. And it was, despite there being upwards of 25,000 people on the field at this big party, it was spotless. It was 30 frames a second. It was 1080p. We'd obviously need to check that with our RTPM, but what we've seen is the quality is significantly better because of the back end solution that we do, which we use, that really takes in the stream, splits it out, and sends it out to all the viewers.
So Tom.
Yeah,
I want to touch a little bit, because I think the question was more aiming at that if there's so many people in that environment that you have a constrained network and it's hard to ingest data into through the RTMP. It's true, the WebRTC it's way better adapted at working at constrained networks, like bandwidth going up and down. But we tested the RTMP with our solution, and you can still get it through. Obviously, it's not as well as adapted as the WebRTC solution.
Okay, well, the query juices are starting to flow. I'm going to bring another one up from Matt.
Matt. He's been a long-term friend of DroneControl. Good to see your face, Matt. Thank you for joining. So we've been talking about dock integration now for a while. We're hoping to launch our Dock 3 integration in autumn of this year. So we've got a couple of other big ticket items that are going in the next 2 weeks, and we've been working on it in the background, and then we'll start kicking off beta testing. But we know that this is quite a critical part for our future. I think we can all have a discussion over the future of the drone industry, but certainly, whether it's 5 years or 10 years, the future of the drone industry is obviously drone in a box. Absolutely, it's coming, and it's touch wood, coming quite soon.
Great, and our friend Peter from Poland successfully translated his question into English for us. I think it might have been answered at the very beginning when we talked about the data integrity, but go ahead and hit that too, please.
So today, as I said, we work exclusively with DJI drones just because of the market share over here in Europe. We do see ourselves being platform agnostic moving forward. I was talking today with someone who had a couple of Autel drones. So whether that's Autel, Parrot, potentially obviously Skydio over in the US, we started those conversations. And we obviously support, with our flight app, all of the enterprise DJI drones plus the minis as well that they've added to to the integration. We can also integrate consumer drones. That's done by the DJI flight text files, and then with the consumer drones, you can stream through RTMP. So we have a number of Avata 2s within the DroneControl system, and for internal clearance, that's a really important one. And how is the drone's location and telemetry data secure when it's So if I understand, so firstly, and I'm not sure if I fully understood the question, but none of the, so one of the things we take great pride in is data security. So we've had various penetration testing, data network analysis. So there's no data that is shared with any other servers apart from the ones that we are very open about where they go to. So when it's transmitted to the manufacturer, just to clarify, nothing goes to DJI. It all stays within our servers, of which we are very open about where they are and the APIs called. In terms of the drone's location and telemetry, that's shared via WebRTC. So that means that it's encrypted at peer 1 and decrypted at peer 2. That's the same as the video feed, the audio, and also the data channel going back. So that's it. That the encryption keys are sent along and then decrypted as well. So there's no danger of any of that being unsecure.
Tom, I would just add that the reason why our app is obviously much more secure is because we have our own native flight application, right? So it's not DJI Pilot 2, which means that we have complete control over the data that's being shared, right?
Brilliant. Okay. Well, we have one comment and then one other question. So the comment kind of calls Swiss's neutrality into question. Thank you. I think that's Joe again. Okay, and then we do have another good question here with regard to the stream link. So one of the things that public safety has an issue with is how long it takes to get that link. How do you manage that?
Yeah, sure. So I can very quickly actually. So would you be if I that's nothing like share entire screen. Would you mind sharing my screen again for me, Zach?
Of course. Here we go. Actually, I'm going to take that off so we could see the whole screen. Okay.
And let me just. Where is it? Okay. Yeah, sorry, I just need to, this is, sorry, you're now seeing really the, there we go. So hopefully you can now see, let me just move that up there. Apologies for that, this. There we go. So hopefully you can see this. So this is our, so every pilot within our system has a unique URL. So you can also pin protect that URL. So for example, you can have a command center. If they don't have access to our remote access section of our website, they can bookmark that URL to connect to it. You can also then, though, is what we find is you can see my URL there. You can copy and you can send that. But the quickest way is to put, and we see this a lot with public safety, is once they're streaming, if someone wants to connect, is take a photo of the QR code and send it and WhatsApp it to someone. That's the quickest, most efficient way that we found to be able to get that. There's obviously the challenge with enterprise drones is you don't usually have a messaging center on the RC. So it's how do you get that QR code to the relevant people? So the easiest way we found is photo of the QR code, send it to someone.
Okay, brilliant. All right, guys, this was a great show. I really appreciate what you've done here, coming on and doing all the demonstrations and taking all the time to make sure that it flowed. And I think my friend Jason said something earlier, like to the effect of, what was it?
Yeah.
Something,
effect, right?
my demos, what could possibly go wrong? Well, Jason, looks like not much. These guys have got it all right. So if you are a current user of DroneSense and or UAS tool, talk to these guys and see about, what can they do for you that might be a, more specific solution that meets your requirements. Again, I like to be vendor agnostic. I really want to find out what it is that people do that make it a better experience for you and your team, and not, just sell. So, you guys definitely hit them up and talk to them about it. Are there any final comments that any of you would like to make? Start with you, Tom.
Yeah, I'd just like to thank you, Zev, for the kind invitation to join. I did have a certain amount of live demo anxiety building up towards this session, so I'm happy to see it all went well. Just for your viewers, just as a little incentive, if you did get in contact and we can arrange a 4-week free trial for anyone that has a trial. They'll also be sent one of our DroneControl coins. So I know that over there in the US, everyone's quite keen on the tradition of military coins. So we have our own coin. Yeah, there you go. Thank you, sir. We'll arrange to get some sent out to those of you who start a trial. So if the tech isn't impressive enough for you, you've got a little incentive there as well.
Very good, Jerry.
Yeah, I hope you enjoyed our tech integration, right? It's a demo, and obviously we're going to be continuing putting a lot of effort into getting it even better, in the future.
Brilliant, Marcel.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I'm also very excited for the future because this is just the start of the software. It's never gets worse than now. So I can say for my part, I do a lot of tests too, and all the tests I did, especially with this kind of software, we did it in South America. It was always flawless. So, and this was, as usual, very good. So thank you.
And I'm sure between you and the other door knocker in the snake eater on the screen, Mark Halliday will be talking about how you can provide those solutions there. Mark, can you give us some final words?
Well, I mean, I think it just shows the ability of TAC to be an enabler, bringing disparate technologies together. And that's what it's really about, is, everybody will have their main system, but in any real disaster, you have to talk to somebody else. And it's the ability of TAC to allow you to talk to someone else and share information that makes it stronger than a proprietary system.
Excellent. Okay. I'll also add that in talking with Tom and Jerry over the past few weeks, things that I've noticed, might be included in the app, they immediately considered it, had a conversation about it, either added it to their timeline or said, well, look at it this way. We might, this might be a better way. So really appreciate their openness and their ability to absorb some good suggestions or whatnot. So with that, I'm going to say thank you all again for coming, and thank you to our viewers. And again, this will be available in perpetuity on demand, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.
That's it. Thank you all.
Thank you.